Arlene Pinnell is suing her ex-husband's fiancée, Stacy Allman, for making false reports to Child Protective Services and harassment.
Guys, case number 240 on the calendar in the matter of Pinnell versus Allman. Pleasure to be sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat.
Ms. Pinnell, this is your complaint. Your complaint is that the defendant made a false charge against you to Child Protective Services and has been harassing you by interfering with the phone contact that you want to have with your former husband, sort of as a condition of putting your daughter on the phone.
Yes.
Ms. Allman says it is you that is harassing her and your former husband, and that she was at one point concerned about the child's welfare. She did, in fact, call Child Protective Services on one occasion,
Yes, ma'am.
and she has a counterclaim. First of all, Ms. Pinnell, the defendant is the fiancé of your former husband.
Right.
You and your former husband have one child.
Yes, we do.
That child has cerebral palsy.
She has mild cerebral palsy, yes, Your Honor.
How long were you married?
For 8 years.
And where did you live when you were married?
We lived in Florida.
You were divorced in the state of Florida?
Yes, we were.
Does your former husband have a visitation schedule that was fixed by the judgment of divorce?
No, he doesn't.
Is there a reason he does not?
I have no idea. He didn't ask for visitation for his daughter. He just asked for shared parental responsibility.
So you have shared custody?
I'm guessing, yes, Your Honor. She lives with me.
Yes. Do you have shared custody?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's why I didn't ask for visitation, because he has shared custody. Now, you recently moved
Yes.
from the state of Florida to the state of Kentucky.
Yes, Your Honor.
Who lives in Kentucky?
My mom does.
Did you have court permission to move?
We weren't divorced at the time when we moved. I was told that
You were not divorced?
We were not divorced when I moved to
When
Kentucky.
did you move?
I moved to Kentucky last year at the end of October of last year. Our divorce wasn't finalized until May of this year.
How long had the matter been pending in court?
For 2 years.
So that the matter was pending when you relocated?
Well, I hadn't been served with...
That's not what I asked you. The matter was pending when you relocated?
Yes.
Did you give your husband any notice that you were moving to the state of Kentucky?
Yes, I did.
That's a lie,
When?
Your Honor.
Shh, don't speak. When did you give him notice?
I tried to call him 2 weeks prior to me moving because there was a hurricane. Hurricane Wilma came through. I was trying to contact him 2 weeks before I knew because I was told by his parents.
Listen! I asked you a simple question.
2 weeks before we moved.
You said you didn't get to him 2 weeks before
No,
you moved.
I couldn't get a hold of him.
So the answer is you did not notify him before you moved.
Right, I did know.
That-
Sorry, Your Honor.
Is that the answer? You did not notify him before you moved.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Pinnell, I will tell you right now that if I were the family court judge hearing your relocation case, you would be back in Florida in a heartbeat. You have no right to take a child out of the jurisdiction and away from a parent when there is a pending divorce case without going before a judge and saying, listen, this is what I want to do. I want to relocate hundreds and hundreds of miles away, and I want your permission to do it. Now, I can understand from an emotional perspective, Kentucky is where your mother lives, why it's more comfortable for you to be there, why it may be even more comfortable and better for your daughter to be there. That is a judicial determination. Once you get married and have a child, you don't get to make that decision by yourself.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I'm telling you that right now. There was no excuse for that.
Sure, Your Honor.
Now, Miss Allman, let's start with you.
Yes, ma'am.
You called Child Protective Services. Do you remember when?
I actually have the report. It was June 22nd, 2006 at 9:18 a.m.
Can I see the report, please?
Yes, ma'am. I have it highlighted where
Just a
DCI...
minute.
I'm sorry.
I can read. It's the first prerequisite for this job. Ms. Pinnell,
Yes, ma'am.
you say that your child has cerebral palsy. When was she diagnosed with cerebral palsy?
She wasn't diagnosed until she was 6 years old.
diagnosed when she was 6.
Yes, Your Honor. She's a very...
This report indicates that there was an allegation of medical neglect.
Yes.
Made by you.
Yes.
And this says, for the allegation of medical neglect, there are no findings to support this maltreatment. Medical records confirm that the child was seen by the doctor on February 3rd, 2005 and August 5th, 2005. There is no medical evidence to support that the child suffers from cerebral palsy and does not need to take medication. Now, can you tell me why you haven't taken a child who suffers from cerebral palsy to a doctor in a year?
Actually, she's been to her pediatrician of this year.
Well, not according to this report. madam. I'm just telling you.
Well, I don't know what doctor she saw because I have a statement here from her current pediatrician, which she was seen on May 19th of this year.
Can I see that, please?
Stating that she was sent to orthopedics because she was complaining because my daughter gets muscle pains.
What's the name of your regular pediatrician?
Doctor, that's the one that's in Kentucky. She sees him every 6 months.
Okay. You called June 22nd, 2006 from Naples, Florida.
Yes, Your Honor.
What was the concern that you had, madam?
Because she was not taking the proper care of the child, because we were under the pretense of her saying that Alyssa has cerebral palsy when we found out that she does not have cerebral palsy, that it was just
How did you find out she doesn't have cerebral palsy?
the DCF report.
Okay. Do you have anything there that would support your statement that your daughter suffers from cerebral palsy?
No, I don't, Your Honor, because she has a very mild case of cerebral
You keep
palsy.
saying that she has a very mild case of cerebral palsy. All I want to see is something from a physician that indicates that she has cerebral palsy.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If that's true, Mr. Pinnell, that's a serious problem that she has. There's a medical term for that.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Carleen Pinnell claims her ex-husband's fiancée, Stacy Allman, falsely accused her of child neglect. Stacy is countersuing for harassment.
Well, when was the last time she was diagnosed with cerebral palsy?
The last time she was diagnosed was when she was 6 years old. I can't
Where?
remember the exact dates.
Where?
In Jacksonville, Florida, when my ex-husband was stationed in the Navy. And
you were together?
Yes, and he was present.
Step up.
With me.
Shh. Your last name is?
Pinnell, Your Honor.
Mr. Pinnell, time you were in the service and your daughter was 6 years old, were you present when your daughter was diagnosed with cerebral palsy?
I was off and on, Your Honor, because I was out to sea and I came back.
Were you ever advised by your then wife that the child had cerebral palsy?
She told me mild case of cerebral palsy, but I didn't see any documentation or anything from a doctor saying it was true.
What were the manifestations that she had of having cerebral palsy?
She said that...
No, that you saw.
Oh, that I saw? I didn't see anything. Alyssa would get, her legs would get weak, but that could be just average, just playing.
And what would you do for her if her legs got weak?
If we were walking, we'd stop walking and just
You mean
relax
she
for a little
would say
bit.
she was tired?
Yeah, she was tired.
Okay. When was the last time you saw your daughter?
It was about over 3 years ago.
No, Your Honor. The last time he saw his daughter was a week before Easter in 2005.
Wrong.
Shh. Where?
I'm sorry, 2004, when she was staying at my mom's house.
That is a lie.
You know, your problem, Miss Allman, is that you have taken too much of an active role in something that has nothing to do with you. That's your problem. That's his responsibility. He's the father. You're not. You are, so far, nothing to this child. You're not even a stepmother to this child. You're nothing. And you have no stake. So I don't know whether Miss Pinnell is a nut or not. That's possible. She's his nut, not yours. I understand that she thinks that she's being protective of you and she's going to set the ground rules because now this is her turf, right? You can't let that happen. This is the mother of your child, and if she's a nut, she's your nut.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's possible because certainly if you have a child who has a very, very, very mild case of cerebral palsy, you make sure that that child is seen on a regular basis. And for the years that you lived in Florida, certainly, you would have had another diagnosis from a doctor in Florida that says the child suffers from mild case of cerebral palsy. And that's non-existent because she doesn't have anything, and the state of Florida says there is absolutely no medical evidence to support that the child suffers from cerebral palsy. So if that's true, Mr. Pinnell, if that's true, that's a serious problem that she has. There's a name for that, a medical term for that. Somebody who requires attention by making believe somebody else is sick as a way of getting attention for themselves, attention, sympathy, or whatever. I don't know if that's the case, but clearly, based upon this report, it's the case. But, Ms. Pinnell, there is absolutely no indication that she didn't have at least some basis to call Child Protective Services. So the first part of your case is dismissed with regard to false allegations to Child Protective Services because Child
But, Your Honor, that's not the one that I'm talking about. The ones that I'm talking about is when There was one that was filed in 2005 in September and January 3rd when she had called saying that if Alyssa does not get medication, she could suffer seizures and or die. I mean, in here she stated that my daughter has to be on medication or she'll die.
Listen to me, madam. You've been telling people for the past at least 6 years that your daughter has cerebral palsy.
Yes.
And I'm not an expert. Certainly, I'm not a person of medicine, and I don't know whether all children who have cerebral palsy take medication.
No,
or
they
should
don't,
take
Your
medication.
Honor.
Well, I don't know that. And you're not a doctor either. So,
But Your
if
Honor,
this has... Go ahead.
I also have an email stating from Miss Alleman that she's sitting there saying I refuse to get the medication she really needs.
So?
I mean, she's even sat there and said that my daughter's supposed to be on medication, and my daughter's not supposed to be on medication. My daughter goes to a physical therapist twice a week for her outpatient therapy because she has a hard time writing because of her mild cerebral palsy. She's also in speech because of it.
Well, all I can tell you is this report from Child Protective Services says, I'm going to read it to you one more time.
I understand, Your Honor, but
there is no medical evidence to support that the child suffers from cerebral palsy. Listen, if I had to put a child in all kinds of therapy for cerebral palsy and the state finds that the child does not have that disease, it's something that I would certainly look into. Anyway, your case is dismissed with regard to any calls that she made, even though she shouldn't have made them. That was you. You can't be a wuss, Mr. Pinnell.
Yes, Your Honor.
You can't put that on somebody else. You have to take care of the business of your family yourself. Right now, Miss Allman is not your family. Maybe one day you'll make her your family. Today's not the day.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, as far as the harassment is concerned, let's talk about the harassment.
Okay, Your Honor. She has sent me numerous emails telling me to stop calling, you know, and just threatening to sue for custody, you know, and try to take my daughter away from me. Or
That's not harassment.
Well, I mean, in the emails, they're vulgar.
That's not harassment.
Okay.
To tell you to not call anymore, that she's going to try to take custody away, or they are going to try to take custody of your daughter away, is not harassment.
I also have it on tape.
That's not harassment.
But, Your Honor, it is because, I mean, my daughter, the only time that I call is when my daughter wants to talk to her father.
Then let your daughter pick up the phone and call her father.
She's tried, and the message shows that every time that my daughter, she'll call her father, she refuses to answer the phone.
No,
and my
listen,
daughter leaves a message, Your Honor.
Listen to me. My sense is, Miss Pinnell, that her father would like to speak to her. Her father doesn't want to speak to you.
I understand that. I have no problem
Then you
letting
have
him
to
talk.
Then you should have picked a time before you moved to Kentucky, without court permission, for her father to speak to her.
Can you please just listen to the message, please? I mean,
Sure.
Okay. This is the first one.
You better knock your off, you stupid lying. I don't need this in my life. I've been told you once before. Leave us alone. Understand that? Leave us alone. Don't call me. Don't do anything to me ever again. But a fat, ugly. Do you understand that? Leave me the phone.
Here's the second one.
Tuesday, 11:22 a.m.
Just for this, Paul will never speak to Alyssa ever again. And you will never, ever get a number to contact us ever again.
How many times had you called that day?
You know?
I had only called, my daughter had called on Father's Day to leave a
No,
message.
no. How many times had you called?
Just
She has
that
the
one
telephone records.
I have over a year's worth of phone bills to where Carlene has called constantly.
She's
I
also-
had to change my cell phone number twice.
How
my
many
home
times
number
a
once.
day?
There was one day where she called 50 times. I physically pulled the phone cord out of my wall because we didn't want to put up with it. It's when Paul calls to speak with with his daughter.
No, he's going to tell me that, not you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, I've called I've called a lot of times, and she would answer the phone. I don't want to talk to her. I want to talk to my daughter. There was a while.
So when you call up on the phone and you say, is Alyssa there?
Yeah.
What happens?
She would go into some speech of this, and this, and this. That's not what I
And
wanted.
What do you do?
I wait a little while, and she eventually puts Alyssa on the phone.
Okay. So,
So,
Mr. Pinnell, you know you have a problem. You know what your first problem is? Her.
yeah.
Your first problem is her, Mr. Pinnell. She's interfering in your business. You have to lay the ground rules with your fiancé, and the court has to lay the ground rules with your former wife.
Yes, Your Honor.
Listen to me. If he doesn't want to speak to you, Miss Pinnell,
I have no problem letting him
fine.
talk to his daughter.
Fine. Then let his daughter pick up the phone. You have a cell phone?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
And call him, her father, on his cell phone.
The only number that I have is her cell phone. I don't have his cell phone for
Well,
his
maybe he
daughter
doesn't want to
call.
give it to you because he thinks you're going to disturb him.
I have an email from Miss Alleman stating that when Paul wants to talk to his daughter, that she's going to be the one making the phone calls, and that I'm to put his daughter on the phone so he can talk to his daughter.
So what's wrong with that?
I don't want her calling my house. That's the problem. Because any other time that she's called my house, she's been nasty to me.
Okay.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
Anxiety, filling up every space, no privacy. And silently, it could build and build until you finally see, whoa, it's taking over, damn no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over all their shoulders, like moving boulders just to get out of the home. It sucks, I've had enough, I don't wanna feel the stuck under the rug, all my problems that I shove.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough. Nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough. Nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. It sucks when you finally feel like giving up. Oh God, no luck, everything feels like you're sticky stuck. I'm lost, handcuffed to the bed where I sleep, don't give a fuck. Can't stop, unplug, feeling overwhelmed, I think I've had enough. Gotta find a way to get some energy, gotta find someone who's a good friend of me. I need purpose to make it all worth it, I'm still searching and I'm still learning. I want a life that's filled with memories, not a life with regret and frenemies. I need focus to keep me from hopeless psychosis if I keep moping.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough. Nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough. Nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
Anxiety, filling up every space, no privacy. And silently, it could build and build until you finally see, whoa, it's taking over, damn no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over all their shoulders, like moving boulders just to get out of the home. It sucks, I've had enough, I don't wanna feel the stuck under the rug, all my problems that I shove.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear Let the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough. Nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough. Nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me.